flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Conway.
Here.
Ms. Doherty.
Here.
Ms. Fattacante.
Here.
Mr. Leahy.
Here.
Mr. Leary.
Here.
Ms. Martin.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield. 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Special order of business, we have Spotlight on Excellence on the Catherine P. Starclosa Knowledge Bowl Competition 2008. Madam Superintendent?
Thank you. The first Spotlight on Excellence this evening is celebrating Lowell's Knowledge Bowl tradition, and specifically tonight, this year's first place winning team. And I'd like to introduce Terry Garish, who's our coordinator of special projects, who has overall responsibility for running the whole competition. And she'll introduce some other folks.
I wish good evening to members of the committee, Dr. Baer, members of the administration. I am so pleased to have as one of my first duties as I came to the city of Lowell to participate and to help organize the Knowledge Bowl competition. As a former middle school administrator, I love seeing academic competition. We have lots of things on the fields, but it's nice to see kids competing in the academic arena. And to have these students from your 9 schools get together and show such sportsmanship and such good nature and such good, healthy competition was a joy to watch. The members, the coaches from all of the teams are exemplary members of the faculties to which they belong, and really, really did their schools proud. What I'd like to do is to introduce Mr. Jack Pernard, who will show a short video clip, and then I would like to introduce, and then after that, Principal Edie LeBron of the Sullivan Middle School. Sullivan team won, for the first time in the Cup's 18-year history, has won first place in the Knowledge Bowl competition. So I thought we'll take a look at the video, and then I will turn things over to Ms. LeBron. Thank you so much for having us here.
Butler Middle School was host to another exciting year of the Catherine P. Starclosa Knowledge Bowl. The semifinals saw the 9 schools compete over the course of 3 nights, giving only 3 teams a chance at the Knowledge Bowl finals. Competing in the first night of the semifinals were the Pine Arts, Rogers, and Wang schools.
The Scenic Overseas Highway is a 127 2-lane American road consisting largely of bridges connecting subtropical islands collectively known as the
Pine Arts.
The Florida Keys.
Correct. Most of the people living in a region called Kurdistan are of what ethnic background?
Rogers.
Kurds.
That is correct. Italy, Germany, and Japan signed an agreement forming the Axis alliance, and only Britain was left to stand against them. But Britain, short on money and weapons, found in blank a man who could inspire the nation.
Wang.
Churchill.
Correct. Convert 2/5 to 80ths.
Pine Arts.
32 80ths.
That is correct. Underlying most tundra in the region between the taiga and the Arctic Ocean is permanently frozen ground called
Permafrost.
Correct. Ohm's scale of hardness. What number corresponds to the maximum hardness of a mineral?
Wang.
10.
Correct. A rebellion among members of the military against a superior officer is called a?
Pine Arts.
Mutiny.
Correct. What body that has 435 members today had only 59 members when it first met in 1789?
Wang.
House of Representatives.
Correct. In the U.S., what time zone is immediately west of the Mountain Time Zone?
Rogers.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, that is correct. What is the currency in Australia?
Pine Arts.
Correct. Material such as silt, clay, gravel, and sand that is deposited in deltas is collectively known as...
Wang.
Sediment.
That is correct. With the Pine Arts School hot in their lead, the Wang School secured their seat in the Knowledge Bowl finals. The second night of the semifinals saw teams from the Bartlett, Stocklosha, and Sullivan schools. Name the circular opening in the iris of the eye through which light enters.
Bartlett.
The pupil.
Correct. The lowest concentration of oxygen in the body is found in the pulmonary capillaries of what organs?
Stocklosha.
The lungs.
That is correct. Name the process of modification of a living organism to help it adjust to the conditions of its environment.
Sullivan.
Adaptation.
That is correct. Name the sugar-rich liquid produced by flowers that attracts pollinating animals.
Bartlett.
Nectar.
That is correct. The District of Columbia is coextensive with the city of...
Washington.
Correct. What is the name for a large extension of land surrounded on three sides by water?
Bartlett.
Peninsula.
That is correct. Name the flexible and noiseless foot gear worn by North American Indians prior to the 20th century.
Sullivan.
Moccasins.
Correct. A cabinet is a body of high-ranking officials that typically represents which branch of government?
Stocklosha.
That's correct. Crescendo indicates a gradual increase in what?
Sullivan.
Volume.
That is correct. Karen Hess's book about a family living in Oklahoma during the Great Depression is entitled Out of the...
Sullivan.
Dust.
Correct. In 2006, astronomers voted to demote Pluto from its planetary status to what new category of heavenly objects?
Sullivan.
Dwarf planets.
Correct. With an astounding score of 365 points, the Sullivan School dominated the competition and clinched their chance at the finals. Competing in the last night of the semifinals were the Butler, Daly, and Robinson schools. A Hawaiian feast is called a...
Butler.
Lowell.
That is correct. The venom of what spider found throughout the continental U.S. is up to 15 times as potent as that of rattlesnakes?
Daly.
Black Widow.
Correct. The solid rock that underlies all clay, soil, sand, gravel, and loose material on the Earth's surface is called?
Robinson.
Bedrock.
Correct. What country killed Jim Bowie, William Travis, and Davy Crockett?
Butler.
Mexico.
Correct. Instead of using horses or mules to pull their Conestoga and covered wagons, many pioneers used what other much stronger animals?
Daly.
Oxen.
That is correct. Who was president at the time of the largest land acquisition in U.S. history?
Robinson.
Thomas Jefferson.
That is correct. The airspeed can reach 250 miles per hour and send thousands of bacteria-filled droplets into the air. Name this convulsive expulsion of air from the nose and mouth.
Butler.
Sneeze.
Correct. The crack of a bullwhip is produced by the tip of the whip exceeding what speed?
Daly.
Speed of sound.
That is correct. What American colonist is usually associated with this quote? The British are coming.
Robinson.
Paul Revere.
Correct. In 1879, Wyatt and his older brothers, James and Virgil, moved to what silver mining boomtown in the Arizona Territory?
Butler.
Tombstone.
That is correct. The Bermuda High is a semi-permanent, subtropical anticyclone located in the western part of what ocean?
Daly.
The Atlantic Ocean.
That is correct. With tight competition, the Daly School edged out the Butler with only a 15-point lead. It all comes down to these three teams, the Daly, Sullivan, and Wang schools. Each team will battle it out for a chance to walk away with the trophy. What is the cube root of negative 64?
Daly.
-4.
That is correct. What kind of reactions are caused by substances such as dust mites, pollen, and animal dander?
Sullivan.
Allergic reactions.
That is correct. What country is both the world's largest producer and largest consumer of energy?
Wang.
United States.
That is correct. Jeanette thinks that if leaf color change is related to daylight length, then exposing plants to fewer hours of daylight will result in changes in leaf color. What do scientists call this kind of supposition?
Wang.
Photoology.
No, I'm sorry.
Daly.
Hypothesis.
That is correct. All modern constellation names come from what language?
Sullivan.
Latin.
Correct. Name the two largest bodies of water adjacent to Puerto Rico.
Wang.
The Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea.
That is correct. Trapezoids have how many parallel sides?
Daly.
One side, like one pair of parallel sides.
That is correct. On an alphabetical list of Canadian territories, which is last?
Wang.
Yukon Territory.
That is correct. Gerald Ford's initial popularity as president quickly declined after he issued a full pardon to whom?
Sullivan.
Correct. The Bering Sea forms part of the border of what U.S. state?
Alaska.
Once again?
Alaska.
Correct. In World War I, what neutral country was adjacent to Italy, France, Germany, and Austria-Hungary?
Wang.
Switzerland.
Correct. The only gold medal given to an officer in the colonial navy went to what commander of the Bonhomme Richard?
Sullivan.
Correct.
And that's the end of the round.
That is the end of round one.
With another impressive performance, the Sullivan team broke away with a final score of 335 points. And for the first time in 18 years, the Sullivan School will take home the Knowledge Bowl championship.
I'm sure that all of you were as dazzled with all of our middle school students' brilliance as I was. It's just an honor to be here as the principal of the school that won, but as you can see, it was anybody's game. It was the speed of being the first one in on the buzzer. It was waiting patiently for Jim Neary to finally finish the question so the students could answer. It was all of that excitement. And I know after 18 years of trying and coming in second and third, or not at all in some occasions, it was really wonderful to just watch the students flourish. I want to start off by introducing our two coaches, and I'm going to introduce the members of the team, and then the team has some gifts for the committee, and then we'll also sort of explain the process from their point of view, and we really are very honored with being able to sort of do this additional personalized infomercial about the Knowledge Bowl. I know Jackie knows a lot about it from her firsthand experience, but I just think that the viewers at home and other new members of the committee might enjoy understanding what it's like from the point of view of a student. So my two coaches who are in their third year of coaching, both science teachers in the 8th grade, Mr. John McHale and Mr. Gary Osler. And I'm going to ask that they come and stand in front of the superintendent and the deputy superintendent, and then have the students come to the front as well, if you please. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see, we'll start with Brett Montgomery, who is sort of our head of the team. Come on, Brett, why don't you carry up? He's going to carry up the first place trophy. Why don't you get up to the front? Thank you. And then I'm going to call you back to say a few words in a minute. Okay? Hunter Padishal, another 8th grade student from the school. Ian Harmon, who in addition to coming this evening is celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, Ian. I wasn't going to let him get away with that. Matt Laraba, our 6th grade student who's going to carry the cup because she's got the big weighty burden to carry on after this, Munira Hussan. Oh, she's going to be the center of the team next year, right, Munira? Lucia Aravallo. Megan Kilmartin. Lizzie McQuaid. Catherine Abraham, and last but not least, Jeremy Hall. I'm going to ask Matt to step to the podium. He's going to talk a little bit about how the students selected themselves or were invited to join. While he and the other students are going to do the speaking parts, other students have gifts for the committee, sort of little commemoratives from the Knowledge Bowl and Mrs. Garish.
Well, some of us started out and we volunteered at the beginning, and we didn't have enough for a team, so we all got together and decided on who we thought could take the pressure of being in the Knowledge Bowl and who wouldn't be afraid of hitting the buzzers. And then we asked Mr. McHale and Mr. Osler, who in turn asked the students, who then came, and then we had our team.
Thank you, Matt. Jeremy Hall and Lucia Arvello are going to talk a little bit about what they needed to do to prepare for this, besides growing up playing Trivial Pursuit, I think.
As a team, we all met on every Thursday since early December, and we practiced our skills in answering the trivial questions and being able to buzz in on time and getting the answers done before and figuring them out before the other teams were. And we met every Thursday to practice that and get our skills ready. But then on the other teams, there was the 4 groups, and one of them was current events. They also did something else, which Lucia will talk about.
Every Tuesday, Mr. Atlas made us read the newspaper so we can be ready for the current events.
Ian Harmon is going to share a little bit about the pressure of being on stage.
Being on stage isn't that bad. It's that if they're asking a question, you know it before he's finished and you buzz in. And it's a bum if you ruin it for your team, but if you get it, it's nice. And it's very suspenseful. Someone else buzzes in. Suspenseful.
And finally, the captain, Brett's going to share a few words about when you kind of know it's getting close to the end and where you stand.
Again, like Ian said, it's very suspenseful, and you really kind of feel the tension growing as they're flipping the cards, telling, okay, Sullivan's this, Daly's this, Wang is this. It's constantly changing. That last one was neck and neck for a while, and when we finally managed to win, it was probably one of the greatest feelings of the competition. It was took a while to sink in, though.
Certainly a wonderful 18-year legacy that I hope continues for 150 more. Thank you very much.
Our second spotlight on excellence for this evening is an opportunity to recognize Lowell High School's winter athletic teams. It was a wonderful season, and we have a lot to celebrate. So I'd like to invite Dennis Krzyzak, Interim Athletic Director, to introduce this spotlight on excellence.
I've been noted for that. Everybody in it. Good evening. I'd like to thank the school committee. I'd like to thank Dr. Bear, Bill Samaras, Gene Franco, Ann Murphy, Sue Mulligan, and Jay Lang for affording us this opportunity to recognize some of the achievements of our winter sports teams. This year was in the history of Lowell High School athletics, this winter was the most successful in the history of Lowell High School. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the teams, and I'll go through their coaches and their achievements, and then I'm going to have the Coach Crowley from the girls' basketball team will come up here and address you as to the girls' basketball achievements, and I'll have Coach Scott Boyle will come up and he'll address you on the boys' basketball team, and then Tim O'Keefe will come up and address you on the boys' wrestling team. What I would like to start with, and I did not list here that you did get, is that Caitlin Saber from the girls' gymnastics team qualified as an individual for the state gymnastics finals. The team did not qualify as a team, but Caitlin did qualify as an individual for the state individual championships. And the boys' track team, we had the track team finished second in the MVC. That'd be the Merrimack Valley Conference. Phil Meyer was selected as the Lowell Sun Boys Indoor Track Coach of the Year. Coach Phil, Coach Meyer, right over here. Also, Coach Meyer is finishing his 25th year as a track coach at Lowell High School. Jeff Vega, Melvin Ma, and Dan Camper were selected to the Lowell Sun All-Star team. NBC All-Conference honors went to Jeff Vega for the 2-mile run and Melvin Ma for the 300-meter run. NBC All-Star selections with Jonathan Cantone for the 55-meter high hurdles, Dan Capra for the shot put, Zach Roy for the long jump, and the 4x400-meter relay team consisting of Melvin Ma, Thomas Vanny, Walter Calbreja, and Anthony Gentles. If any of those individuals are here, would you please stand up? Melvin Ma and Jeff Vega. In the girls' track team, the following girls were chosen to the MVC All-Star team. You had Courtney Baldwin in the 600-meter run, Tina Tobin in the 55-meter high hurdles, and Christina Tobin and Courtney Baldwin were also selected to the Lowell Sun All-Star team. The boys' swimming team had the best showing in MVC championships in over 10 years. Rick Bastianini was selected MVC and Lowell Sun Coach of the Year. Rick was also inducted into the State Swimming Coaches Hall of Fame and will be enshrined in the National Swimming Hall of Fame in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This type of an achievement is a lifelong type of an achievement. He's been involved in swimming his entire life, and he's still a young man. He still has a ways to go, but this is a tremendous achievement for any coach in any sport to achieve, and I congratulate him for that. Chris Polius was selected to the MVC All-Conference team and the Lowell Sun All-Star team. Selected as MVC All-Stars were Kurt Leswitz and Leo Tannheimer, Ian Finn, and Colin Cregan. That's the boys' swimming team. The hockey team finished the season with a 14-5-1 record. Selected the MVC All-Conference team were Robbie Daly and Bobby Mitchell. Brendan Murphy, Dan Moynihan, and Jan Aguilar were selected to the MVC All-Star team. Rob Daly was also selected to the Lowell Sun All-Star team. That's the hockey team. Of all the teams that we've had at Lowell High School this year, probably the biggest turnaround in sports programs has to do with the boys' gymnastics. The boys' gymnastics team had the best season to date, finishing 4th in the state. They were virtually an unknown team going into the season. A lot of schools didn't even realize that Lowell High School had a boys' gymnastics team. And Steve Sorois, the coach, was selected to the was selected as State Gymnastics Coach of the Year, as well as Boston Globe All-Scholastic Gymnastics Coach of the Year. Coach Sorois was also selected as the Lowell Sun Boys Gymnastics Coach of the Year. Zachary Aguilar was selected to the Boston Globe and Boston Herald All-Scholastic Boys Gymnastics team. Zachary was also selected to the Lowell Sun All-Star team. Quite an achievement for the boys gymnastics team. Next I'll have coming up is Coach Mike Crowley. He'll be talking about the girls basketball team. What I will say about Mike is that Coach Crowley was selected to the MVC, to the MVC, and also a Lowell Sun Coach of the Year. Coach Mike Crowley.
I'd like to thank the school committee for having us down tonight. We really appreciate it. I have a couple of my girls here tonight, seniors. I just want to acknowledge them. Kira Shaughnessy, please stand up. She's a 2-year varsity player, and she's a member of the National Honor Society, so we're very proud of her for those accomplishments. Good job, Kira. And Ashley Rivera. 4-year varsity player, and she was captain this year. She had a great career that I'll continue to talk about as I go. Good job, Ashley. I'd also like to congratulate Coach Boyle, Coach O'Keefe, and Coach Meyer for spectacular seasons this year. Good job. We finished 19-3 this year. And for the seniors, they were 76-16 over the 4 years, which was our best stretch since we've been here. So great job by the seniors. We were MBC co-champs, and we also we won the St. Mary's of Lynn Spartan Classic towards the end of the season in a February tournament, and we bowed out in the semifinals of the state tournament. The awards for the season, we had 2 MVC All-Stars, junior Kara Rogers and junior Brianna Wilson. We had 2 girls make the all-conference team, Whitney Wilson, and she also made the Lowell Sun All-Stars, and Megan Kavanaugh, who was another senior captain, and she made the Sun All-Stars and was all-conference. And Megan also received a prestigious award from the local referees. She had the Sportsmanship Award from the local board referees, so we're proud of Megan for that accomplishment. And Ashley Rivera was the MVP of the league this year. She brought home a lot of awards, and she capped off a great career. She was the Lowell Sun Player of the Year. She was first team Boston Globe and Boston Herald, the first girl we've had selected to the first team for the Boston Globe and Herald. And Dennis Krzyzak just informed me that she made the Fox All-Star team, too, for Fox News. And she was the all-time leading scorer with 1,232 points for her career. Two other girls I'd like to mention. Senior Brittany Roscoe was also a 2-year varsity player, and she was a tremendous volleyball player as well for the high school, and we'll miss her. And Tess Sigliano was a freshman, has a nice career in front of her, and she's #1 ranked in the freshman class, so we're proud of her for that too. So a lot of our other girls maybe missed the honor roll by just one class or something like that, so they're doing the job in the classroom, they're doing the job on the basketball court, and that's really all I can ask for. So congratulations to the girls for a great year. Thank you.
Coach Crowley hit on a point where I should probably mention. As the athletic director, I introduce what we call Seniors Night. With the seniors, I go out and I talk about the seniors, and we have a little ceremony for them. And I was pleasantly surprised as I was going through the senior night with the various teams, when you go through the list of achievements and how many of them were Adams Scholarship recipients, National Honor Society students, and honor roll students. I was pleasantly surprised to see how many students we had in that category. They would just come in one right after another as I go through seniors night, and it was just so calm, and I made a special note of it, and I just wanted to make everybody aware of it, that they're not only achieving on the athletic field, but they're also achieving in the classroom. Next, I'd like to introduce Coach Boyle with the boys basketball team. And Coach Boyle was selected as the MVC Boys Basketball Coach of the Year.
How you doing? I'd like to thank the school committee tonight for having us here, and the superintendent. Thank you very much. And the athletic staff this year did an outstanding job and really supported us, and I want to thank Mr. Krzyzak. I'd like to introduce our players. We have many here tonight. We'll start with Fernando Perez, David Brown, Nick Schermerhorn, Sano Lopolu, Jethro Colley. I let him borrow that shirt. That's my shirt. Kevin Murray, Julian Scott, Nathan Simpson, and Matt Welch. I received a Christmas present from my aunt this past Christmas, and it was a whiteboard, and she said, "Here, write all the important things on this." And I'm like, geez, I really don't forget things, so why would I put anything on this? So I said, all right, I hung it up. She was all happy, and about 2 weeks ago, Coach O'Keefe said, "I'm going to buy you dinner at Cavaliero's after the school committee meeting." I went home, and I wrote that down on the board. It's the only thing that's been on the board, and it's the only time I'll use it, but I'm going to get that dinner tonight. Just a few things about our team. Like Mr. Krzyzak talked about, it's a great, athletic, talented group of kids, but really, as far as their work ethic, their work in school, they're just super kids. And outside of our record, it's a group that I don't think I'll see again like this strong, our senior group and our junior class. Some of their achievements, we were 23-2 this year, 23 wins, ties the history of the program. It's the most in the history of the program. We were co-champs this year and last year, back-to-back. That hasn't been done probably in over 20 years. They were 14-0 at home, 26-1 over the last 2 seasons. They were ranked number 2 in the state. We were the North finalists at the Songus Arena, and anyone went there. It was an outstanding game and a great atmosphere, and kids just had an outstanding year, athletically and in the classroom. Some of the awards I'd like to announce that the kids had that we didn't go over. I'll start with Matt Welch. Matt was selected to the Herald Dream Team. Only 5 kids in the state are selected to that team, and he was one of the 5. He's first in games played at Lowell High in his career. He started every game for me since his freshman year. He never missed a game. I believe his dad told me it was 92. It's a heck of an achievement. Never was hurt, never missed a game in 4 years. He's the second leading scorer in the history of the program, and he was an MVC All-Conference selection and a Lowell Sun All-Star. He's going to UNH next year on a football scholarship. Matt Welch. The next kid is Fernando Perez. Fernando shaved his head bald in August, and he hasn't got a haircut since. I like it. Fernando was a Herald and Globe All-Scholastic, Lowell Sun All-Star. He was selected as the Merrimack Valley Conference Player of the Year. He was MVP of our Christmas tournament. He's an honor roll student. He's going to attend WPI or probably UMass Lowell next year. He's been accepted at both, and he's done a tremendous job for me for 3 years. Fernando Perez. My next guy, I'm just going to do my five or six seniors that are here. David Brown was an MVC All-Star, Lowell Sun second team. He missed the honor roll this year by one class on the second semester. I just talked to him today. He fixed that. He'll be on the honor roll this semester. Correct? Correct. He's done a great job for 2 years. Super kid. He's accepted at WPI, UMass Lowell, Westfield, and he has a few other schools that he's been accepted at. So he'll play basketball next year somewhere. David Brown. One of my players that's not here tonight is Jamie Shannon. He's at Brandeis tonight. That's where he'll go next year. He was accepted at Brandeis. Jamie was a 4-year starter for me. He was an MVC All-Star, Lowell Sun second team, and like Matt, he'll probably be second in games played at Lowell High next to him. He might actually be tied with Matt. Matt's ahead. Jamie was hurt his freshman year for 2 or 3 games. So he'll be second in career games played at Lowell High. That's Jamie Shannon. My next guy is Nick Schermerhorn. Nick's a 4-year varsity player. He's ranked 8th in the class. He did an outstanding job over his 4 years basketball-wise. He was captain of my team this year along with 4 other kids. He's applied to BC, BU, Cornell, been accepted at BC and BU and Northeastern. He thinks he's going to attend BC next year. That's Nick Schermerhorn. My next player is Sano Lopolu. Sano's a 2-year varsity kid and just did a great job for me. Tremendous work ethic. And he's applied at UMass, URI, Johnson & Wales, and will go to college somewhere next year. Sano Lopolu. My last senior is Kevin Murray. Kevin did an outstanding job this year as a senior. Worked tremendously hard and played not a ton of minutes, but when he did, he was very productive, and the kids love him. He's probably the funniest kid on the team, and he keeps the team loose. And he was great to have. He's applied at UMass Amherst and University of Connecticut. Kevin Murray. I'd just like to wish Mayor Bud Caulfield a speedy recovery. I know he spoke to our kids, so we wish him well. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have someone coming up who you've seen a few times. We have Coach O'Keefe coming up, and he'll be representing the wrestling team. Coach Tim O'Keefe was named to the Merrimack Valley Conference as Coach of the Year, and he was also selected as the State Wrestling Coach of the Year. Coach Tim O'Keefe.
Thank you. Just want to wish and congratulate the winter programs. I think we did an outstanding job as a whole. Every sport team, we just congratulate you. I want to thank the school committee for having us. This is never gets old. We always appreciate this. Our boys work very hard, and this is always a great honor for them. Dr. Brooks Bear and her staff, the headmaster, Mr. Samaras, and Mr. Kriziak for their support. We appreciate it. Our parents, we always have our parent support, and that is always much appreciated because we couldn't do this without the parents. And lastly, to Chief LaValle for the police escort. I think the one thing about winning the state tournament, that's probably more exciting for the boys than anything, getting the police escort back into Lowell. So it's always enjoyable. A little bit to recap the season. We do have a large group here. I wasn't originally going to call everybody's name, but I'll call their names if we can just have an applause at the very end. Ibrahim Kadar, Andrew Gauthier, just stand up, boys. Christian McCarthy, Ryan Ahern, Ricky Ganoy, Cam Crockett, James Downing, Cullum Sullivan, Nick Berdard, Scott Rondo, Rob Colley, Mark Torrey, Matt Montoya, Bob Saravac, Dylan Colley, Brandon Gothier, Victor De Jesus, Evan Connors, Paul Feely, Amadou Jallo, and Eddie Crockett. We appreciate these warm-ups, the school committee approving them. This is always an honor. These boys are very excited. The two that do not have them, they just have not returned their uniforms. So when we get the uniform, they get them. Just to recap, I'll kind of finish at the end. We were very fortunate again to win a 21st sectional title, our 16th state title. And we really aim every year for the end of the year, and this is the first time since 1994 we finished undefeated. And we've started one this year, and we finished one. And anybody that's been on top understands it's very difficult to do. And these boys have done it year in and year out. They deserve all the credit. They do everything we ask of them each and every year. No matter how hard it is, they just do it. They buy into what this program stands for. And they're the reason why we have the success we have. They're just good kids and hard workers, and their efforts always appreciated within the Lowell wrestling community and family. Brandon Gothier, I'm going to start with we go by weight class, and our first competitor at 103 pounds, Andrew Gothier, was second in the sectionals this year. Ryan Ahern, senior captain, he was second in the sectionals, fourth in the All-State. Also Lowell Sun All-Conference. Victor De Jesus I'm going to go to. Victor De Jesus was second in the sectionals, second in the state, also an All-Conference. Amadou Jallo was third in the sectionals, also an All-Conference. Nick Berdard, fifth in the state, fourth in the sectionals, and an all-conference. James Downing, second in the sectionals, sixth in the state, and an all-conference. Cullum Sullivan, he was third in the state, fifth in the all-state, and an all-conference. Robert Colley was fourth in the sectionals, 215. And our other two senior competitors just did a great job, part of this program, and the history of it were Eddie Crockett and Scott Rondo. We had a state champ this year at 125 pounds. He started the season with a couple losses, regrouped, got himself together, and did his best at the end when it really counts. First in the sectionals, first in the states, and a Lowell Sun All-Star, Christian McCarthy. Our next two were state champions and New England champions, and they added to the program's history by becoming the 27th and 28th New England champions, Brandon Gothier and Evan Connors. A couple of these guys, Evan's going to Phillips Exeter. We have Eddie Crockett just got into Syracuse, James Downing, Northeastern, a couple other guys, Framingham State. So we're just proud of what these guys do for the program, and hopefully, like the other teams, these kids are going to take it to the next level and just keep this as a learning tool and move on and become successful. So thank you very much for having us.
That concludes the awards for the winter sports, and I'd just like once again to thank everybody, and we appreciate the recognition that you've afforded these student athletes, and hopefully I'll be back again in June with the spring sports teams. Thank you.
If I could just say, I think that the two spotlights on excellence we had tonight said it all. We've got academic excellence and athletic excellence, and I'd like to congratulate all the students for the hard work they put in, and especially thank the coaches, the administrators, and the staff who put their hearts and souls into helping our students. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular school committee meeting of March 19th, 2008? A motion by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the special school committee meeting of March 24th, 2008? Motion by Mr. Leary, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Memorials by Committeewoman Regina Fatacanti. Milda Mishkind, sister of Herman Mishkind, retired special education records officer. John Torla, brother of Kathy Dawson, Varnum School literacy specialist. Ray Iannuzzo, father of Nicole Iannuzzo Gould, Sullivan School ESL teacher. Wilford T. Plant, father of Barry Plant, custodian at the McHugh Bride program at the Riverside School. And Mary Fitzgerald, taught in the Lowell school system for 38 years, retired as Lowell High School business chair. May we have the chambers darkened for a moment of silence, please. May they rest in peace. What? I can't hear you. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed permission to enter.
No, that's it. You're all right.
So I just say permission to enter.
Yeah. Recognize the superintendent.
Recognize Madam Superintendent Bear.
Recommend the committee enter into the following contracts with the Cardinal Cushing Center for $45,453 to amend existing special education contracts. Community Care Services Incorporated for $2,468, again to amend an existing contract for out-of-district tuition. The Cotting School, $1,735, similar amendment to an existing contract. Education Inc., $92,000 to amend an existing contract for academic support and tutoring services for youngsters with special needs who are hospitalized. Health and Education Services Incorporated, $17,479 to amend the existing contracts for out-of-district placements for 2 students plus 2 additional students who are enrolled and now receiving services. Italian Home for Children Incorporated, $1,952 to amend existing contract for 1 student. Merrimack Education Center Incorporated, $16,000 to amend existing contract. Again, special education tuition. Professional Center for Handicapped Children Incorporated, $3,505, again, to amend an existing contract related to special education for out-of-district tuition. The Judge Rottenberg Educational Center, $15,584 for the same purpose. The May Institute, $29,862, same purpose. Youth Opportunities Upheld Incorporated, $2,149, same purpose. Pennaquisy Island School, $17,485. This is provide for the out-of-district tuition cost for 1 student with special needs who is enrolled and receiving services. ASAP Fire and Safety Corporation, $8,110 to provide for hood filter cleaning and kitchen exhaust system and hood cleaning services at approximately 19 of our schools. That's funded by the school department budget, facilities, contracted services.
Motion to approve the contracts by Ms. Martin, second by Mr. Leahy. Roll call, please.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield? 6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Now we'll go to the motions. We have a motion by Mr. Leary to request the superintendent provide to the school committee at their April 16, 2008 meeting an update on where the Lowell School District stands regarding implementing the Massachusetts Extended Time Learning Initiative. Seconded by Mr. Conway. Mr. Leary.
Thank you. I just want to get an update on this. I know that we're not going to be able to make the 09 school year. I want to know exactly. I know the administrations will be changing. What type of handoff we'll be making to the other to the new new administration. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion approved. Next motion by Mr. Leary, request the superintendent meet with the City of Lowell's Chief Information Officer for the purpose of opening a dialogue between the school department's technology department and the City of Lowell's Management Information Systems Department. The discussion would review existing synergies, developing stronger relationships, and development of potential cost savings between the sister departments. Second by anyone? Ms. Martin? Mr. Leary.
Thank you. I think the initial premise here is really that we're going to be going through this year a $3 to $4 million deficit that I think has been obviously known. What's sad is we're going to be going through this again next year as well, and it might not look much different. We've never funded, since I've been out here, technology the way anybody wanted to. I think we need to start looking differently and working with our sister department on the other side of the city to see where we can share shared talent and knowledge and costs where applicable. I think obviously this isn't going to happen this budget year. Probably the discussions won't begin to sometime in the summer, logically, because we're going through the budget year. But it's something that we need to start looking at ways of really spending more monies and working better with our technology. And I think working and developing a dialogue with the city in this can only enhance what we already have. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Motion by Regina Fatacanti. Request that the Special Education Subcommittee meet to determine possible policies regarding the removal of violent children from regular classrooms. Seconded by Ms. Martin. Ms. Fatacanti.
Thank you, Your Honor. And it should say emergency policies, because this is really an emergency maneuver, Madam Chairperson. When there exists in a classroom a youngster who, for a variety of reasons, becomes violent to staff and to other children and to themselves, for their own safety and for the safety of every other child in the class, then we need to come up with some kind of an emergency removal process. There are a couple of instances that I'm not going to specifically state here, which I have conveyed to the superintendent and Assistant Superintendent Murphy, both which are in the process of being taken care of, but we have to do something for the youngster who's having the hardship. But we also have to do something for every other youngster in that classroom and the paraprofessionals and the teachers that work with those children. So what I'd like to do, Madam Chairperson, is send this on to the Special Ed Subcommittee. I believe you're chairperson of that subcommittee.
I think we have a meeting scheduled. Did you want to amend it to say emergency policies?
Yes, please accept the amendment to say emergency policies, because it doesn't always have to be, it's not always a crisis, but right. In the instances that I did bring up to Madam Superintendent and to Assistant Superintendent Murphy, these were crises that have been dealt with, but I think that staff were perplexed about what to do, and now if we have a policy, Assistant Superintendent Murphy can sort of execute that emergency procedure, and not that I want to bump other children off a list, but these were a couple of very dire situations that that anybody looking at it would say, okay, we need to do something very quickly here.
Okay. All those in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, we're going to subcommittee reports. Subcommittee report for the Transportation Subcommittee by Chair Regina Fatacanti.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I believe that we did vote on this last week, so it would simply be to accept the minutes of the March 19th subcommittee meeting.
Motion to accept the minutes of the March 19th subcommittee meeting made by Ms. Fatacanti, seconded by Mr. Conway. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Motion passes. Okay, the next subcommittee meeting was the Joint City Council and School Committee on School Building Programs of March 25th, 2008. Chairperson, Mr. Leary.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We met on March 25th in the City Council chambers with our counterparts on the council. Chairman Alan Kazanjian was in attendance, as well as the great Michael Lindsay, Councilor Lindsay, and Councilor Rodney Elliott, as well as the mayor was in attendance. On our side, it was myself, School Committeeman Martin, and Leahy. We listened to an update. The meeting was two parts, really an update regarding the Morey School and when, I guess, we'll be anticipating actually moving into the building. The target date initially, when we began the plan, was November 18th, 2008. That has been moved back to February 20th of 2009. That is the original phase 1 and 2, actually moving into the building and beginning of the demolition of the Morey School. Councilor Kazanjian had very good questions regarding safety for children, regarding when the demolition of the Morey School would take place, and we were assured by Watermark, our consultant, as well as the city manager was in attendance too, and the superintendent was in attendance. I apologize. We were assured by the city administration and the school administration that we would put all procedures in place, and that Watermark would bring in a game plan or an action plan at our next meeting, which we anticipate to occur in the next, I believe, in the next 90 days. We're going to try to schedule a joint meeting before the month of July, so it'll be in the month of June. So I think there was other issues regarding the phase in terms of getting some of the parks and what have you in place. That really, the target dates were really originally July 23rd, 2009, but that's been moved back to October 16th. So the target date to actually have the students in place in the new Morey School is February vacation, moving them in of 2009. And that's something that we're optimistic at this point in time we'll be tracking. Again, the co-chairman, Councilor Kazanjian, and I will be setting up a meeting in June to further discuss the Morey School. In addition, we had the topic regarding the Sapacera School, which I'd like to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Lang for a quick update to the committee regarding what was discussed at that point in time.
Thank you. I reported at that meeting that the superintendent and myself, with the city manager and CFO, had some preliminary meetings with the MSBA to stay in touch with them on the process. And two milestones we had to reach before our program moved into the funding consideration pipeline. One was that we needed to confirm our enrollment projections for students. And we recently submitted that enrollment projection that was updated to the MSBA about a week and a half ago. And the second milestone was to actually identify some potential sites in the city where that building could be built. So I've been working with some staff from the Department of Planning and Development doing a mapping project to figure out where some possible locations in the city where the city owns the land would be to build that school. So we'll be meeting in April to do that. And I think we'd like to bring some recommendations of possible sites back to the joint committee at the June meeting to narrow down, hopefully, 5 or 6 sites to a possible 2 or 3 sites. And at that point, the SBA actually gets involved in the site selection, looking at the financing of the project. And hopefully we can jump into the next phase of the program review by the summer or fall to keep that project on track.
Any questions or comments about the subcommittee meeting? Then I would entertain a motion to accept the report as a report of progress and place on file.
Motion.
By Mr. Leary, seconded by Mr. Leahy. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Athletic Subcommittee report. Chair Regina Fataconti.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We had an athletic subcommittee meeting prior to our meeting here tonight. We had one specific item on the agenda, and that was to discuss whether or not department heads should continue to be coaches after they have risen up into a management position. It was always the longstanding position of former school committee I'm sorry, maybe he'll run for school committee someday, but former superintendent George Sapasaris, that those people in management positions should no longer have coaching positions, simply because their management positions usually last past the end of the school day, significantly past the end of the school day. We had a situation in one of our athletic departments where an individual who was in a management position is now a coach. What we've asked Mr. Samaras to do is to put together a policy that the athletic subcommittee can look at and then bring back to the full school committee that would enforce that unwritten policy that we always have. We never had anything in writing, so everybody was in their full rights to appoint this person. And that, him being the coach is not the issue. The issue is whether or not we'd like to have a policy which indicates that people in management, because of the nature of their work, should refrain from taking coaching positions. So that policy will be developed, and that policy will come to the athletic subcommittee, and will come to the full school committee with some recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have comments or on this? Okay, so then I would entertain a motion to accept the report as a report of progress and place on file. By Mr. Leahy, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. And the final subcommittee report for tonight, the ad hoc subcommittee on building naming. Chairperson Regina Fatacanti.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Very seldom do you get to be on a subcommittee that is quite this delightful. And that is the Building Naming Subcommittee. Brought before the subcommittee was a request to name the early childhood wing at the Abraham Lincoln School in honor of Deborah Roundtree. And so, Madam Chairperson, so that we can have this in our minutes, I am going to read the material that was submitted to the Building Naming Subcommittee, the material that we in fact looked at to make our decision. Biography for Deborah Roundtree. She was an exceptional early childhood education teacher in the Lowell system for over 30 years. She was born in Lowell, grew up in the Highlands section of the city. Her entire professional career was spent welcoming young children into the wonder of learning. In her kindergarten class, each child knew immediately that they were special and that they would succeed. Her positive impact on her students enabled them to feel secure in their ability to learn and grow into productive and caring citizens. It is impossible to measure this lifelong effect of a caring teacher on the life of an individual. In the final 10 years of Deborah Roundtree's career, that was spent teaching kindergarten at the Abraham Lincoln School, where she was a valued colleague and friend to all. She was selected by her colleagues as Teacher of the Year, and unfortunately for most of this time, Deborah Roundtree courageously battled breast cancer. Following each occurrence of this relentless disease, Deborah returned to her classroom and her children. She never complained, her courage was remarkable, and her love for her students was unequaled. To her, each child was perfect. Deborah Roundtree passed away in March 2007. While this school year will be the first that Debbie will not be a member of the Lincoln faculty, she will be a member of its family forever. Her presence is felt in the smiles and kind words of the Lincoln staff who continue this most important work. A motion was made by my colleagues, Ms. Martin and Mr. Leary, to in fact name the Early Childhood Center after Deborah Roundtree, and it passed. I'd ask this committee to do the same.
Okay, motion to name the early childhood wing of the Abraham Lincoln School in the name of Deborah Roundtree by Ms. Fatacanti. Yes. Seconded by Ms. Martin. Roll call.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Faticante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield. 6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Now we get to the reports of the superintendent, and the first report is on the dropouts. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, formerly known as the Department of Education, has released a report of statewide dropout rates for 2006-2007. That is the last full school year. And it brings very good news for Lowell. while statewide the dropout rate increased, in Lowell the dropout rate decreased. And in fact, Lowell's dropout rate is now within 0.6 of a percentage point of the state average, which is really very exciting for us. The data that was prepared in Mr. Schlickman's report clearly identifies the area for us here in Lowell where we are above the average in terms of dropout rate, and that is in the freshman year. And so that, I think, is certainly the kind of data that has led us to, over the last couple of years, pay so much attention to the freshman experience and restructure how we provide the freshman experience. And I anticipate that these numbers are going to change for next year based on the fact that one significant predictor of whether a youngster drops out is whether they earn enough credits in freshman year to earn sophomore status. And that's been a major issue for us in Lowell for a lot of years. And the data we have thus far for this year is a dramatic improvement in the percentage of freshmen at the end of first term and at the end of second term who were earning passing grades in all of their major subjects, enough to be on track to earn promotion to sophomore status. So if that continued hard work of the staff and the students at the Freshman Academy continues on that trend, I think we're going to see a significant increase in the percentage of freshmen who earn sophomore status, and that should be one major step that we'll take to be able to reduce that. What for us is clearly, the chart shows you on page 2, that's the focus of got to be the focus of our effort, is in the freshman year. So I think the report is very helpful. It also points to Lowell's significant success, particularly compared to other urban districts. Of the 9 largest urban districts in the state, Lowell has the most favorable dropout rate. So that's a tribute, and it's certainly we've made progress in the last several years, and it mirrors the progress we've made in, for example, in MCAS score improvement. Where we're now the third highest MCAS scores of the large urban districts in the Commonwealth. So based on that comparable value report that you saw at the last school committee meeting. So I think we have work to do, but this is encouraging news. Welcome any questions or comments.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. I just want to say that, thank you for the report, and thank you to the hard work at the Freshman Academy. It's starting to pay off, and we can see a difference. And as you said, we have some work to do, but at least we can monitor that we are making a difference. Thank you.
Motion to accept the report and place it on file.
Motion.
By
Madam
Ms.
Chairperson.
Fatacanti, seconded by Mr. Conway. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Second report from the superintendent on Lowell High School clubs and activities.
This is a report requested by the Lowell High School Subcommittee, identifying all of the current clubs and activities at the high school, a brief description of what's involved in the club and the active membership involved in the club, and identifying, also making some requests that would for funding that would be in the 2009 budget. We will administratively we'll take this into account as we develop the budget proposals. But I would want to say to the committee, we have an exceedingly tight budget with some significant challenges ahead of us. So we may have to put off yet another year expanding stipends for extracurricular activities. But this is, I think, a useful report for the committee and useful report for future bargaining.
Thank you, Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions. When I went through the report, how did we, I guess over the years, the stipends, I guess, they really range, and really there's no rhyme or reason that I can see with the number of members or whatever. So how, can you briefly explain that, or do we need to send that to a subcommittee? It's, I'd like to just get a little bit more information on it.
The stipends are set through the collective bargaining process, and they are designed to be set on the basis of level of responsibility, number of students involved, how much activity is involved, and those are the major factors. And one of the things that happens is as participation changes, sometimes the stipends can get out of whack. There can be some club or activity that's really grown enormously or become much more complex than it was when it was originally set up, and so it may merit, it may merit in some respects a higher stipend. In other cases, participation or the activities in a club or activity may have declined over several year period, in which case maybe the stipend is more, current stipend is higher than it might be otherwise if we were setting it today. So that's a process we need to engage in the collective bargaining process. So I would anticipate that in the next bargaining
Of the teacher?
With the teacher contract, the committee would probably direct administration to look at all this again with the UTL, and because probably some recalibration would be merited.
It just seems like they just go up and down, and I was looking at the show choir one, and it says 25 members. I thought they were more up to like 40, but...
See, it varies year to year, and in some cases, once something becomes a trend, there's a basis to act on it. But from a 1 year or a 2 year variation would not be reflected in a change in stipend.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to accept the report and place it on file by Ms. Fatacanti, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. New business?
At this point in time, I'd like to ask for a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules by Ms. Fatacanti, seconded by Ms. Martin.
The reason for the motion to suspend your rules, Madam Chairperson, is to bring in an amendment to the superintendent's contract.
Motion to suspend the rules to amend the superintendent's contract, seconded by Ms. Martin. Roll call.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fataconte.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield. 6 yeas, 1 absent, suspension approved.
I would refer to Ms. Martin, who's the head of the Personnel Subcommittee. Madam Chairperson?
Thank you very much. What we'd like to do, and I'd make it in the form of a motion, is to make an amendment to our current superintendent's contract to section, basically on separation, I'm not sure what, section 6. What we'd like to do is include resignation and/or non-contract renewal as situations in which the separation clause is enacted regarding vacation time and sick leave buyback. And that would be my motion.
I'm going to try to repeat that back. Ms. Martin made the motion to amend the current superintendent's contract, section 6, and to add the words resignation and/or non-contract renewal as situations where, that's the part of the...
Vacation
and sick leave
buyback.
Vacation and sick leave buyback. Okay. Seconded by Ms. Fatacanti. Roll call.
Mr. Conway.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fataconte.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield. 6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Motion passes. And
Madam
there's other-
Chairperson, I'd like to ask for another suspension of the rules, please.
We're already under one. You don't have to make another one.
I don't have to make another, oh,
No, you
thank
don't.
you so much.
Okay, no, you're already under one.
And the second suspension of the rules There's been conversation amongst committee members, Madam Chairperson, about asking our current superintendent to invite our newly elected superintendent to an opportunity for the community to, in fact, to meet her. We'd like to invite our state delegation, our state senator, along with members of the colleges in the area. We thought this is an opportunity for the school committee as a body to extend to the community a wonderful opportunity to come together in a collegial way to meet the new superintendent.
Okay, so I guess I'll make that as a motion from...
However you want to frame it.
A motion by Ms. Faticante to invite the superintendent-elect to meet with community members, including our state delegation and leaders. Actually, the secretary will read it.
Please, thank you.
She
Okay.
takes shorthand.
Ask our current superintendent to invite the newly elected superintendent for the community to meet her. Invite the state delegation, state senators, along with the colleges in the area. It's a wonderful opportunity to come together to meet.
And also invited, Your Honor, would be the community at large. I mean, this is an opportunity for the community at large to come and meet the new superintendent. So it would also be an opportunity for Dr. Carla Brooks-Beer to host an evening for the community to, along with the school committee, to meet the new superintendent.
And that motion was seconded by Mr. Leary. I don't think we need a roll call for that, do we?
No.
We could just do, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, did you want to comment on it? No, okay. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Ms. Martin?
While we are continuing in our suspension of the rules, if we could, the change we made to our current superintendent's contract is the same change that I believe this committee is looking to make in the incoming superintendent's contract to include that same language. So I would make that in the form of a motion to make that have that same language as part of our incoming superintendent's contract.
I will second that,
Okay,
Madam Chairperson.
I'm just wondering where we didn't actually accept the contract for the new superintendent yet.
Well, that way it would, when we're taking a motion now, as they're writing up the new contract, that wording will be added, yes.
Okay, so do you want to take
Does
it
that
as
work?
a separate motion to make the amendment?
Maybe City
To
Solicitor
amend the draft
O'Connor.
as submitted to the school committee.
What she says.
We can, there should be a motion to approve the contract before you, motion to execute it, and then a motion to amend it with these changes that I've just noted.
Well, we can't do that yet then, can we? Because we haven't seen the contract. So we would need to wait for...
You have it.
Okay. Are we ready to do that tonight? Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Then I'd make a motion to accept the contract as presented to us for our incoming superintendent, Dr. Chris Augusta Scott.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Martin to accept the contract as presented for...
No, as amended first, right?
No, we're going to
No?
accept it
Yeah,
first.
okay.
For elected Superintendent-elect Dr. Chris Augusta Scott, seconded by Ms. Faticante. Roll call.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Ms. Faticante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield, 6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Ms. Martin.
If I could make a motion requesting that we amend the superintendent-elect's contract to include language in Section 6, including resignation and/or non-renewal of contract as conditions under which the accrued vacation and unused sick leave can be paid out.
I'll second that.
Thank you. The motion by Ms. Martin is to amend the superintendent-elect's contract regarding Section 6, resignation and/or non-contract renewal as it relates to accrual of vacation and sick days. Seconded by Mr. Conway. Roll call.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty,
Yes.
Ms. Faticante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy,
No.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
5 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent, Mayor Caulfield, excuse me. 5 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent, approved.
We have a list of convention and conference requests. I believe there are 5. What is the wish of the
I'd make a
body?
motion, Madam Chairperson, to take them in total.
Motion by Ms. Fataconte to take the conference requests in total, seconded by,
We're going to take a roll call.
anybody second in that motion? Mr. Conway, thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Fataconte.
Yes?
Mr. Leahy,
Yes.
Mr. Leary,
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield. 6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Motion approved. I see there's no communication, no professional personnel, no civil service. Before we have a motion to adjourn, I'd like to just ask my colleagues if we could have a moment of silence to wish Mayor Caulfield speedy recovery. I know he had surgery yesterday. Thank you. Thank you. To adjourn? Motion to adjourn by Ms. Martin, seconded by Ms. Fataconte. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? No, motion passes.
Nice job, Ms. Doherty.
8:30.